Where are you?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
All of us.
We gotta close that, we gotta continue this one on, yeah.
2 hours, learn 1 hour, hour and a half.
All right. Steve, one moment, Phil.
I'm gonna zoom.
Counselor, will you review?
Yes,
We begin.
okay, so you have asked for consensus on the number of parking spaces the board would like to see on the plan. Or,
Hey, Rob,
That's the right.
Rob, the meeting's in order.
Excuse us.
board
We don't mean
members.
to interrupt you.
The Adventure Zone has asked for a consensus of the number of parking spaces you would like to see on the plan is 161 spaces, the 161 parking spaces in the west side parking lot, the number of spaces, the consensus of the board, what you would like to see
161 for the Adventure Zone.
for the Adventure Zone.
Yes.
Yeah,
Per the experts, yes.
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 Go ahead.
I think you're hearing the consensus of the board is that 161 spaces would be good. Some sort of contingency plan, perhaps a shuttle plan would be a good idea to have in your back pocket in the event that some sort of monitoring plan shows that there is not sufficient parking. Okay, great. Now, we would like to have revised plans 10 days before the next public hearing. And there will be a motion to continue the public hearing. The date that is being floated is January 13th at 4 p.m. Does that work for everyone involved?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so one of the board members, could I please have a motion to continue the public hearing to January
I move
13th
we-
at 4 p.m.
I move we continue the public meeting
Hearing,
regarding the Adventure Zone to January 13th at 4 p.m.
can I have a second?
Here,
Here,
time, date, place.
here,
Second.
Bill's house.
All in
Yeah.
favor?
I can handle it.
Here,
I have seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Motion passed.
and so we will look for plans by January 3rd. Wonderful,
Plans by,
January 3rd. Which is Saturday, so January 2nd. All right. I'm assuming you do not need any longer this evening.
I'm assuming that we have concluded this portion of the public hearing to be continued on January 13th.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
Very good.
We already did.
We don't need a motion for this, but I think that, okay. We now have to move to the second portion of this public hearing, which is the hearing on the ordinances.
Thank you, everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Mr. Bill, I've been talking to the chairman.
You guys all have a copy of the
You're
warrant articles,
We're
a
talking,
copy of the warrant.
Wait a minute, two things happening here.
I've been talking to the chairman of the CIP committee. Who indicated that he does not believe that the CIP will take more than an hour Thursday night.
Probably not even that.
Won't need more than an hour, is that what you said?
Definitely not more than an hour, but
Probably less,
probably less.
probably less than that.
We've got it nailed down, so.
So,
That being the case. As I think most of us are wearing down. All right.
Because don't we?
we can't, because we would have to, we would have to notice it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can't.
just, let's
Okay.
just get through the.
Liz, take
Yeah,
your
Liz
reins for a
can,
bit.
Liz can go fast. She's got a long drive.
Okay, we get another box of cookies and bring them in.
Well, it's candy, but there are more stuff up there, but staff might be angry if we eat all their goodies. They should have hit them, right?
I mean, not with the veterans.
Yeah.
Right.
Good meeting, Steve. All right, I need tomorrow, 2:30, right? 2:30. Right, I'll be home. Anything comes up.
Rich, we're trying to move forward.
Yes, sir. Cheerio, Tamarshi. Let's go.
Thanks, Steve.
Have a good night, Steve.
All right, thank you for running the meeting, Steve.
Thank you,
Bill.
Good night.
And Liz,
Yes, all right, so we are going to talk about the 2026 proposed zoning ordinance amendments, which we have gone through. We went through last week. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to ask at any point. So just kind of the rundown of what we will do. Board will go through the proposed amendments one at a time. We'll review them. I will introduce them. They will give a brief overview. Following the discussion of each proposal. If there's not much pushback, the board can then make the motion to send it forth to the select board for inclusion of the town ballot. If the planning board determines that an amendment needs to be tabled or continued, it can, more work done to it, that can also happen. Any questions?
Could I throw a quick monkey wrench in here? I'm surprised that only 2 people have come for this public hearing, since we're making some significant change in zoning amendments. I just want to make that observation, and maybe, do we actually want to, if we vote them on them and approve, they go forward, there will be no more discussion on it. Is that correct? If we do that tonight?
If the planning board decides that, yes, we're moving forward and these are going towards, to the select board, yes. Once it gets to the select board, I don't know, if the public has significant pushback, if the select board can kick it back. I don't know that aspect of it.
I've not seen that happen here.
Okay.
So this is a concern I have, not having real.
I'm fine, you know what, we posted it, we're here,
Yes,
you
we
guys.
can't
come
knock on their
on.
door.
We posted it.
Yeah.
We
We gotta do it.
I think we've observed the rules
I'm
that.
not, yeah, I agree with that. You do have the opportunity perhaps to have another public hearing on January 8th and vote them out then, just to make sure.
We might have to use that time, because there might be some of these that we do make changes to, that we might need that time then to go back and look at that, so that is, but to go, we should go through, and if there's any
Right.
of these that we can go ahead and bless,
But
let's
what-
move forward.
which ones would we want to make changes to, other than what
We're
the
gonna go
public?
through them.
Find out.
We'll find out today.
I
from
mean,
the
because
jury.
we've already gone
from-
through them.
Yes.
I mean, Rich's point.
Well,
No,
no,
just, I
What
want.
is
it'll be amongst us. And if any members of the public wish to
No pressure.
I mean, I'm fine with.
give us an
yeah,
opinion, we
I-
will be happy to.
No pressure, right? You speak for the town. But I.
Can't
force anyone in.
No, I was wondering.
We are
if
all
they
hungry,
wanted-
we are all tired.
Yes.
Move forward, right?
Yes, I agree, or
Or
hungry,
two.
hungry and tired, hungry and
I'm
tired,
getting angry.
but, oh, yeah, hangry now.
All right, so amendment number 1 is to, add. Add a section, add a provision stating that ordinance is permissive in nature. The state laws, the way they are laid out, this is automatic. However, just gives the town more authority. If there is someone in violation, that if an allowed use, or if a use is not allowed. And they have not received a special exception or a variance, then it is a non-conforming use. So the town can then. Go through litigation if necessary. This. Even if this clause is not added. It doesn't matter. The state law still implies, yes. the state law.
Well, I think it does matter because we've learned by other experiences that if it's not in the ordinance, it's not nearly as enforceable. And this is the reason that it's there.
So this would just add a clause, just to notify the public, that this is how the zoning ordinance works and how zoning works. If it's not listed, it's not allowed. You either need a special exception or a variance from the zoning board.
Katie?
Okay. Any comments?
All right,
Any comments from the
Yeah.
public?
Any comments from the board?
Nope.
Then we need a motion.
We voted these out as is, so that.
What?
No, I think the procedure is that we should look at each of these, and if there is any discussion, and if there are any changes, and if not, then we have a motion. And we vote to move it forward to the select board.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I move to send this amendment 1 to the select board for inclusion on the March 10th town ballot to read as follows. It's not actually there, is it?
it says insert or the actual.
Oh, yeah, so and then the warrant articles, are you in favor
It's
of
on this piece of
adoption
paper.
of amendment number 1?
Okay, right, 'cause that's exactly what they're gonna vote. Okay, are you in
Yeah.
favor of the adoption of amendment number 1 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? to add a provision stating that the ordinance is permissive in nature and that any use not expressly permitted is prohibited unless authorized by special exception or variance.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Passed. Next.
More restrictive standard, again, this is implied through state law. This addition, this provision will come into play in the event that there's a conflict between standards. Whatever standard is more restrictive, that one will apply. The example I give, which is not specific for Waterville Valley, it's just an example. If one part allows a 35-foot structure, but there's another regulation that says it can only be 30 feet, the more restrictive standard will apply. So you'd only be able to go up to the 30 feet if there's contradictions.
Is there any discussion?
No comment.
All right,
Send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March 10th town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 2 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To add a provision stating that in the event of a conflict between standards or requirements within the ordinance, the more restrictive standard shall be governed.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Next.
Number 3, the definitions updates. And I have, there's handouts over here that
Big white one.
the zoning, yes.
And then-
Okay, perfect. So this is to update and amend the definitions that we currently have. The 2 that we're removing is the dwelling 2 family and family, because municipalities can no longer define family. Then we are updating dwelling unit, junk lot coverage, multifamily dwelling, structure, 2-family residential unit, wall, and workforce housing. And those can be found on pages 7 through 11 and 12. 7 through 12 are the definitions section.
Does anybody care to highlight what these definition changes are?
No.
No.
They're in the document.
On the food service establishment, what's the purpose and reason for reestablishing that?
Oh, no, she's on number 3.
Oh, sorry,
It's the next one.
So you have no question.
that was within, it's in the definition of the food service establishment.
We broke that one out into another.
It's in a
into
separate,
amendment number
It's the
4.
next one.
So you're
Okay.
good
Yep.
with number 3.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, good with number 3.
All right. Motion by the board.
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March 10th town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 3 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To revise Article 3 definitions, including removing outdated definitions and updating multiple existing definitions for consistency with state law and current land use practices.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Next.
Number 4, so this replaces the word restaurant with food service establishment throughout the zoning ordinance. And this was because restaurant was not defined currently in the zoning ordinance. And we wanted to align as best we can with the state law as well as fire code. So it only regulates state licensed food service establishments. The allowances didn't change for food service establishments or restaurants.
So how does this affect the dorms at BVTS?
It's still not allowed in the special education district. But I think we will, I don't know if it's here later, I'm sorry, my mind is starting to fade, such as it is. We do allow food service establishments in special civic, which they're now not allowed. But it's still not allowed in that district,
In Snows Mountain District?
in Snows Mountain District. Yeah, thank you, that's the proper.
So their cafeteria, which I believe needs to be licensed, correct? Would fit under the food service establishment.
Not a use table
I
change?
believe that they are in a special civic.
All the dorms and special.
It's a special civic.
But that snows.
It's that orange, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I
it doesn't
understand.
make any sense. And everything around it is recreation, and then we don't allow food there, but we all saw the food truck there, it worked out really well, guests loved it, people liked it in that area, but. Not allowed because it's that special district, and the special district, in my understanding, was established only due to the fact that we were gonna. Expand the dorms and the use of DVTS, so they. You go back in time, there was a reasoning they did it, but that reasoning is now gone. So we have a really small special district that, in my opinion, shouldn't exist. It should be recreation.
So this is kind of like the WAMAC thing, that we dealt with Rainey.
Well,
So we don't want to, well, it's similar. It's a zoning change for practical purpose,
Partially.
right?
One part of it is.
Yeah, okay, but we're not gonna get into that now, but we should
No.
put that on the agenda for our next meeting because it seems like there's some valid points there.
I think we did discuss it as the owner of the property was saying needs to have tax for that or not. We talked about.
Well, that's what happened.
Well,
With WAMAC.
the intent was for during the public hearing to see if the owner of the property or anyone else who leases the property, if they had any comment on that district and whether or not it should be included within this particular change
okay.
to the use table, but we decided not to do that pending the comments.
I think it is matter for another meeting. No objection to having it on the agenda. But I'd like to proceed with this so that we can
Exactly.
conclude this evening.
So
Yeah.
that would be the orange. The green, is that one?
No, the orange would just be a food service establishment would be allowed.
Oh,
It's just the use table change.
Because it's.
I think we could discuss why it exists.
That's a whole different long discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
so
it's something to,
We'll hit it later.
And you have to get BBTS. It was done on their behalf, as I recall, many
Yeah.
years back.
all right, whatever the procedure or whatever is proper. But yeah, no objection to doing it at another date.
On this amendment, does it have any restrictions around base sales or?
No.
Yeah, we set that up.
We talked.
Talked that to
That was an hour and a half.
Yeah, we beat that one.
Licensing.
No restriction on,
Oh, yes, that's a good thing to think about.
no, that when we talked about food service, it's essentially for profit.
It was
Well,
kind of like
license,
parking.
license.
We went on that one a long time.
The distinction is licensed or not licensed.
Whichever way you go.
So I would just caution, I don't think we have time this year to relook at that whole district and to change it into something else. We're late in the day here.
We're not gonna.
All we should be looking at is whether or not we should allow food service establishment in that district. If is that the discussion you guys want to?
Yeah, just a use table change and then changing the whole district is, like you're saying, it's more involved than we're thinking about here.
that, yeah, that would.
But that does not.
We're down to the wire.
Amendment number 4.
Yeah.
So amendment number 4.
Yeah, I
Let
know.
us
He's saying
proceed with
use
these
table
amendments.
change.
Okay, I think it's food
Well,
for
for
thought,
discussion.
for future discussion. But it's a matter that, now that I knew that, but Tim's here, he would say that. It's okay with the board. We'll discuss it at another time. Let us proceed with these amendments and get them done.
Yep.
Next,
Number 4, we need a motion. Second and a vote. For food service establishment.
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion
No.
on the March 10th town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 4 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To replace the term restaurant with food service establishment throughout the document and by adding a definition for food service establishment.
second. Did you second it? No, I need you.
Mike
I
second.
seconded it.
All in, any discussion? All in favor? Any dissenters? Passed. Next,
Number 5, short-term rentals, we updated the definition. to cover all buildings, structures and land because, in a couple of the other municipalities that I've been working with, they ended up running into the issue of, land being a short-term rental with a camper on it. So, we added some stipulations to the short-term rentals. And that also brought in all of the regulations that's included on the permit, application. Those have also been plugged in to the zoning ordinance.
Does anybody require any elaboration? Would somebody like to read a motion?
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 5 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To update the town's short-term rental regulations, including adding a definition and clarifying standards for their operation.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any dissenting votes? Passed. Next,
Alright, number 6, the proposal is, these are actually state mandated changes to accessory dwelling units. Municipalities now have to allow 1 attached or 1 detached. The definition, is found on page 7. The maximum living space is okay to be, no more than 950 square feet. Laura, I sent that to Laura and she agreed that's absolutely fine. The owner must occupy one of the units. They must comply with the state and local building codes. And, their state mandated changes, so even if the town votes it down, the state law overrules, so it would just be the wording in the zoning ordinance is incorrect.
So the owner has to be a resident?
Yes, they have to reside on a
Reside.
Okay.
do I hear a motion?
Whose turn is it?
It's your turn,
Anybody?
John.
You got it down pat.
Oh,
No.
You don't read?
I move to
Okay.
send this amendment to the select board for
She's
inclusion
so
on the
good.
March 10th town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 6 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To revise accessory dwelling unit, ADU regulations, including updating the definition and related standards to comply with the current New Hampshire state law.
Second,
Any discussion?
I have to ask the question.
Yeah.
Where does 750 square feet come in? Refresh my memory.
It doesn't.
You can restrict
I'm
it,
asking her.
you can
Hang on.
restrict it down to 750 as a maximum, but if it's silent, it's an automatic 950. But the board chose to go with living space of any accessory dwelling unit shall be no more than 950 square feet.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
It can be as low as you want it.
No.
No,
No,
Seven.
750.
that's what I wanted to,
We had this.
we beat this one to death once
We did.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just, it was.
All right.
I'm
Okay,
clear.
the motion is on the floor.
We have a seconded, Rob seconded.
Good. Any discussion, any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? None? Passed. Next.
Parking delineation, requires all open parking spaces to be clearly delineated. Parking spaces currently need to be paved, and while the ordinance implies that the spaces need to be delineated, it's not clearly stated, so this is just clarifying.
Delineated means a painted stripe.
Yes, a painted stripe. This is not a state mandated change. This is to just add clarification. But I must have just transposed it.
No, it's consistent with tonight's discussion.
Yep.
This is for new parking spaces. How are the current
Correct. This would be from,
new parking lots? They're getting. new stuff.
yes.
Okay.
And in
I'm
fact,
sorry,
The-
can we go back to that?
yes,
This is just clarifying the existing.
It's implied currently.
So
Yes.
it's any parking area.
It is implied, it's not clearly stated.
Right, but as I'm saying, so, but it's, I think Katie's question was, it only applies to new parking areas.
The crystal clear,
The
the
requirement.
the crystal clear
The,
requirement,
the clarification, but the requirement is still implied.
it's implied,
Okay,
yes. It is implied currently.
it's a little bit of legal
This-
sophistry, but
Yes, but it is also,
And that's why we're
To
adding
make
this
it-
for clarity, so that there
no,
cannot be an
right.
argument
Well, I
against
would
it.
people could
say
argue
that-
grandfather, that's all.
Yes.
is it not a state rule? Gotta get this out. Is it not a state rule that as of tonight's meeting, once the board,
I'm sorry, please do not talk, recuse from that. I'd have to recuse myself if you talk about it.
no,
Yes.
I didn't mean it, I'm not talking about whatever took place in between 6 and 8 PM
Okay,
or 6
sorry,
and
I
7 PM.
misunderstood.
I'm talking about another matter altogether,
Okay, sorry.
which is that it becomes enforceable.
Yes,
It becomes
With the
enforceable when we pass it.
yes.
So then where does that go? Does that go all the way up to the mountain?
This would be all throughout town. This is
So
all
then this is
parking
a
No,
spaces.
it's town,
No, this
It's
is
the
this
town
whole
zoning
says
does
no.
not.
it's
the
town zoning, it has nothing to do with the mountain.
It's all throughout town.
No,
It
wait a
would
minute,
be-
the mountain's not in the town, it's in the White
It's-
Mountain.
Oh, so then.
It is in the
there's-
town, it is in the town, but not all its zoning applies.
Right.
And I don't believe parking applies, does it, chief? We've never treated parking.
Where on the map
We're talking,
is,
it's not here at all.
oh, so then it wouldn't apply.
It's not, we're talking about,
Yeah, so that they.
So the public space says no, and this is not a grandfathered in thing, public is saying no.
What is it, friend?
No, they're saying it's not.
It
The
could be
clarity of
argued,
it.
it could be argued either way. As of right now. With the way the zoning ordinance is written, it says 10 by 20 spaces. That implies that it's only measured 10 by 20. However, it doesn't clearly state it, so it could be argued as well that it doesn't exist. So it could go either way currently. This would make it so that from here on out, if it was approved in March, that from today on, any new areas would have to be paved and delineated.
well,
But currently already here, that's my question though. Is that is an expense that those people are not here to record.
this is a
They wouldn't have
clarification,
to
not a
do-
change.
They
Okay.
wouldn't have, well,
I would leave
it all
that to the
depends on what
lawyers.
side,
I would leave it to the lawyers.
yep, it all depends on what side, sorry, doing it.
If someone wants to argue, when we talk about the required number of parking spaces may be higher than any below, the parking plan shall include adequate document to support proposed number and location of places. That's what we mean by implied. All this does is to make it plain that we're talking about parking spaces. If someone wants to argue that, we don't require parking spaces, I'd say let them bring that forward. I think this clarifies what's already in there, the implication that, you have to have parking spaces 10 by 20. If they want to argue that it doesn't apply to them, that's their business.
But your amendment does not talk about that. That's not a word in it says template funding. It says that parking has to be paved and clearly be delineated with lines. That's what your amendment
Right.
says. So
Yeah,
if it's
'cause
something different by 10 by 20, which is what you're saying.
No,
That's currently in the zoning. ordinance.
that's in the zoning. It's just,
then
this
it's
is a
confusing to the
clarification.
public.
Okay,
And my question is does it consider we in a zoning ordinance has flexible property? Is that included?
This is just
As
to
part of it.
delineate the parking spaces.
right.
That's all it is. It's saying you gotta add lines to your, because paved is already in the
Right.
zoning ordinance.
It's understood for common language. I think that's what a lot of zoning does, including ours. I don't know why it wasn't included. But with regard to flexible parking, for example, chief, it talks about within the 1,000-foot radius. Those are the spaces that you can count. Again, parking spaces.
So then put this way, the town rate doesn't have paid parking with money. So.
Town is not, is exempt from zoning.
It's just say no.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's-
Really?
yeah, no, it's exempt from zoning.
Time to do whatever.
So it's up to the board to
That's-
postpone this.
I have another comment
yeah.
on that subject. I think it's important for the board to understand the commercial use of parking and the way that we value our parking that's closer versus value the parking that's further away. There is a maintenance cost and upkeep cost of paid parking. There's an upkeep cost for lining your parking. As you get further away from the site, as we discussed, the parking becomes less desirable. That parking gets a very low utilization, and hence it doesn't need to have the niceties of pavement. It doesn't need that niceties of the line. Those further out lots, say the conference center lots, we don't put lines in there because we don't have a problem with parking. They can park a little bit further away from each other, doesn't bother anyone, doesn't matter. And there's a problem. I've never had a problem with safety. That also allows us to have in the winter time, not worry about the decorative parking lot lines are or salting our parking lots so that they can be seen as delineated parking spaces. In this ruling, a delineated parking space, I assume, is assumed that it would be seen all the time. As we know, in winter conditions, you can't see the delineated parkings. So this seems like an amendment that's going to be confusing for law enforcement to enforce, hard for a business operator to operate under, and doesn't fit a lot of the areas that we already have established.
So Dave, what do you think?
I didn't see this one come through, and I think I would agree that it's gonna cause some confusion, especially with the new construction and the way that it sits with all the other parking regulations that we have.
How do we define parking space, Dave? This is the attempt to define parking space where it's all through parking. This is not a new,
There's just so
this is
many
a
parking spaces that
clarification.
are not paved in the town that
right?
people are gonna hang their hat on that definition.
So would the board be open to putting in a grandfathering clause? Or a legal non-conforming use of a non-delineated?
No, if they're dirt now, then they're in violation, my opinion, of
Well,
the
currently they would be anyways,
ordinance,
because
yes.
the parking ordinance requires
Can
off-street parking.
to be delineated, to be 10 by 20 spaces, depending upon the use, how many, I mean, it's all there, except it doesn't say delineated.
Okay, so I have two
Okay.
comments. So if that's in fact though true, well, first of all, I would support a grandfather clause if it's gonna be to the point where something like this isn't gonna pass. Like I would do a grandfather clause in order to get this through, if that's what needed to be. Otherwise, I would leave it like here. But if in fact it's already that way, then why hasn't it been enforced all this time? And it hasn't been. So that's, you know, yeah, like, I mean, I don't, you know, so.
Didn't Dave just say because it's unenforceable?
Right, I
You
mean,
can't
but-
tell where the lines are?
The person that would, you would direct public safety, if in fact all these lots were in violation, why hasn't it ever been addressed? That, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
That's
because
why-
we haven't addressed
It
it,
doesn't make sense.
So
because we
that's
haven't
why,
addressed it.
yeah,
So
So
then
do
it
you
hasn't
want
been a problem
parking
up to
lots
this
that don't
point.
have spaces delineated?
right,
If you
so,
grandfather, that's what you're going to allow.
It won't change. Tim, have a comment.
Most recent parking that we've established in this town, I believe, is next to the golf course,
Mhm.
and that was not paved.
That's on-street parking.
Which
Well,
is
it's
technically
parking.
not allowed.
It's on-street parking in the town right away.
This is for
This is
off-street
for off-street parking.
parking, private driveways, hold on a second, let me.
And again, that was to deal with a,
Surfacing, all open parking areas required by this ordinance shall be paved. Except parking for 1 or 2 family dwellings. That's what it currently reads, all open parking. And that's under surfacing.
yeah, it doesn't, this doesn't change that.
what do the rest of the board members think about how it sits as is?
Is
What-
this state? Does the state
No,
have
it's
anything to
not.
say about this? No.
No, this one's not, that was a mistake that I carried over from the previous slide.
So I would agree with Catherine in that if it hasn't been enforced and it hasn't been brought to the attention, then it has not been a problem. And I would support a grandfathering clause.
Yeah, I'd go with Dave's opinion. Just exactly that. I mean,
What are you grandfathering? that they no longer need to have a 10 by 20 foot space?
It's not for
Exactly.
me to determine.
This would be
Just
delineated.
propose it.
This would be specifically to the paint.
The purpose of this was to say,
Spaces are-
It was to-
are-
this was
it's
to
gonna be
clarify
within
for-
the lot, it's gonna be, can't be in the right of way. And the space is, the size is defined. Already in.
This is defining, what is it defining, Dave? The parking space, right?
No less than 10 feet by 20 feet.
Well, yeah,
long.
that's it's already there. I don't know what we're
It's just adding the
discussing.
lines.
Whether or not it's enforced is not
Lines and
germane to this discussion.
Yeah.
Absolutely germane. to the
No, not
discussion.
at all.
I hard
Nancy, would you
disagree,
like to-
man, like this
I don't know.
is, if it's all of a sudden a problem, we've not had any issues, our Department of Public Safety Director has not made any issue of it, the select board in their rights has been able to say, you are in violation, please do
We-
something
we-
about it, and you
yes, right.
have not, correct?
select
So it
board
is not a
has
problem.
not done that, but it is already a requirement in the zoning ordinance in the parking section. This is clarifying that what we're talking about are parking spaces. That's what's missing.
I agree.
What-
We need to have a clear definition of what a parking space is. Lined, paved, and it needs to be spelled out very clearly, and and it's not. But I mean, and
So you wanna table this
but
one
again,
and rework
I think
it?
it should be
Yeah,
grandfathered
let's do
because
that.
But what's the grandfather?
Let's table it, and Liz
Existing.
can rework it, and we can.
Existing what?
Existing parking
Areas?
areas?
And how does that apply to anything that's operating now or?
Well, the parking lot that
contemplate-
I'm in is currently paved but not delineated, so we are in violation.
No, you're not.
You're
It's
on the-
private.
Not
Yeah.
currently.
Fair, okay. Retracted.
This is not complicated, folks. I'm not sure what the,
I'm sorry, you're the one that made it complicated,
but-
so let's.
no, I'm saying it's
Continue.
clarification, not a
I
change in
think-
definition.
I would move that we table this and Liz can rework it and we can revisit it.
Or do we want to do a quick vote or no?
let's say we're still talking about whether we think that this is valid or not, and we should decide whether or not we.
Let's vote.
What is a parking space that
Yeah.
includes lines, space, like,
So would we like to amend
because it
it?
needs to be,
Okay, then a motion to say, should this be presented to the select board as is? Or modified?
So it would have to be tabled. This amendment would have to be tabled if the board feels that it needs to be reworked. And then we will have to just pick a new date for a second public
You have
hearing.
to,
I have a question.
Yes,
When we say all open parking spaces.
Mhm.
And then we said, wait, stop, that does not apply to a private parking area.
not for
Is
one
that-
or two family residential dwellings.
For one or two residential.
Yes, so
dwellings.
condos would have to be compliant with. They have to be at least paved, currently.
Wait a minute, paved or
Mhm.
paved and
Delineated.
delineated?
Not currently, only paved currently. This would require them, well, if there are any changes, if we do the grandfathering clause, if there's any significant changes to the parking areas, the open parking areas.
So let
then
me
they would have to
understand,
Meet today's,
I just have to understand. So I live in a triplex,
so you have to have a paved driveway.
it is
open-
paved,
Okay,
all right? But they are not delineated.
Because you have garages and you can park in front of your garage?
that is,
I
that's residential.
There's other spots too.
but this only exempts one and two family dwellings,
It only affects one and two,
so.
doesn't exempt you either.
So currently, they just need to be paved, that's it.
That's what we would prefer for private parking. I think private parking, that works for me.
I make a motion to table this amendment.
I second that
Let
motion.
Liz take another shot at it.
I
Um,
second that motion.
All in
Okay.
favor?
All in
and
favor?
take it up at a time certain at the next meeting.
Multifamily dwellings, 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit.
Has been tabled. Next.
Not an 8:30
All
topic.
right, so,
Well, that's what we all volunteered to do.
So this one is a state mandated change for the amount of parking required. This updates the parking requirements for residential dwelling units to comply with the new state law, which reduces, what we currently have in the zoning ordinance, which is few spaces, for principal dwelling unit. The municipalities can no longer require over one parking space per living unit, regardless of the number of bedrooms. So this, again, this is a state mandated change. If it doesn't get updated, so be it, state law still overrules.
Now it says parking
Yeah.
requirement.
Mhm.
It doesn't say paved. It doesn't say marked.
Right, so here we are talking about the parking use table. And it says 2 spaces per principal dwelling unit. This regardless of,
State says they only have one
delineation.
now.
we can only
Yeah, one.
require one.
It's state required.
We have to do it.
If it's not worth arguing, you'll only say once.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot.
Please.
To read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 8 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To reduce the minimum parking requirement for residential dwelling units to 1 space per unit as required by state law.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissenting? Passed. By the way, when we send this to when it becomes a voting, to have that statement that it's now state law, I think is very useful
I mean,
Then the
explanatory
explanation.
for the voter.
for the vote.
Yeah, in the printout that I have for the voter explanation, it's in that one.
Good.
All right, 9, offsite parking starting point. This is to clarify, where the beginning point of that 1,000-foot radius is measured from, or the 300-foot radius for residential uses. This is on page 45. And the proposed addition, this will be the first time that you guys are seeing the actual language for it, in the zoning ordinance. Measured along the shortest reasonably available pedestrian route from the main building entrance or principal use area as determined by the planning board to the parking area. So, it'll be from the main entrance of the building or whatever the main entrance of the principal use.
The principal building. Is that what you mean?
We did main building entrance or
Okay.
principal use area, so. If it's not necessarily a building, wherever the main entrance is, that's where it's going to be measured from.
Will there be the difference between the main entrance and the principal use? I don't know.
Depends on
It'll
Yes.
be,
So at town square, the way we would look at it is we would measure from the front where you park.
yeah,
And the main entrance to town square,
Yep.
not the front doors of the individual businesses.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the main entrance is.
But if the main entrance is at the lot line,
Hopefully meeting setbacks.
Well, flexible parking was something we added a couple years ago. We just failed to say where the start point was.
Right.
So this provides the start point.
no, what I'm trying to do is address whether it means in the center of the attraction.
Mhm.
As it would be in this case, the principal building at the adventure zone. Or if it's the main entrance, it could be next to the lot line.
But so that you don't mess yourself up with this whole part of it, could you use tubing as a example? Like the tubing hill is in the middle of the golf course, right?
Yeah.
So is it from the start of the tubing hill or is it where
Where
I
would
buy
you
my
pick up your
ticket?
tube? Yes,
Well, you pick up your tube at the bottom of the tubing hill, but not where I buy a ticket to go tubing.
is it all in this, that's all? one
No,
lot?
they're two
No.
different places.
It is one lot, yes.
One lot, so wherever you head to first, the primary area that you head to first would be the entrance.
Or they buy a
I
ticket.
yeah, I don't think it's a.
And what does it say currently?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Currently, it just says, for residential let me back up. Parking provided by public lots designated on-street parking or other off-site parking may be utilized to fulfill some or all of the parking requirements when provided within a distance appropriate to the proposed use, but not exceeding 300 feet walking distance for residential uses or 1,000 feet walking distance for non-residential uses. So it doesn't tell you where to start.
Just says from
Measuring
the
from.
primary use.
Well, this changed.
This has been established by case law. Actually, it was a Hampton case. And it was for the business owner. And what it determined was the language that they use here of the primary, at the entrance to the primary use was what the court established as reasonable.
Because the whole idea was to provide parking and walking, right? So people had a reasonable distance to walk. And 1,000 feet was thought the maximum reasonable limit we can ask people to walk. So it would be to their first stop, whatever their first stop was.
I'm looking at the development plans, what we're trying to get towards. You think about those development plans.
Where is the main entrance?
The main entrance.
I
What
think
is the
that's-
primary use?
Um,
What is the main entrance?
I-
It's in
That's what you
Unless
thought.
it's
directions.
So the only thing that I would throw out is if it's going to be done as a PUD development, planned use development, or if it's going to be done in stages, then I would say it's within the main entrance of each proposal.
Yeah, that argues for the PUD as we've argued in the past for that conceptual, or we suggested for that conceptual plan, but I think that's something you have a standard that makes sense. And then if there's a particular use that it's unclear, that's something you discuss during the site plan. Isn't that how you would normally?
Yeah.
Handle something like that?
Yeah, this, I mean, this just goes with the measuring, just as your starting point. You would have to. You'd have to receive a variance because it's in the zoning ordinance. So you'd have to go for a variance if you wanted to change the starting point. You'd have to receive a variance.
So once
Okay.
again, is it the entrance of the primary use or is it entrance of the property?
It is the main building entrance or the principal use area. So it depends on what you're doing. So if you're building a building, it's gonna be at the front door. If you have just a park, it's going to be at the
Entrance
entrance
to the park.
to the park.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess you've got some overlapping.
Well, I would think that anyone who wants to build something for public use is going to want to have the shortest possible parking.
And that's what it measured along the shortest reasonably
Yeah.
available pedestrian route.
Okay.
Okay, and to Dave's comment,
Ready
this
to
is
go.
now state, let's just say, it's not state law, but
Case law.
it's case law.
It's
Case
case
law.
law, this is the definition that's established and commonly used. In this.
Okay.
application.
All right,
Go with
let's
it.
read it.
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March 10th town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 9 as proposed by the planning board for the town Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? Clarify where the distance measurement starts when determining whether off-site parking may be used to meet parking requirements.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Next.
Right. Number 10, this is just adding, that political signs that comply with RSA 664 are exempt from the town site sign permit requirements. This is already said below in the regulations, and I'm just adding it to the top as well. It doesn't change anything, it's just added for protection.
So you can put them up or you can't?
You can, as long as they comply with RSA 664, which outlines what political signs can be placed where, for how long, after elections, and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have this
It's-
else.
yes.
This is just putting it at the top.
Yes,
so
this
people
already
can see it right
exists.
away.
Yep, this already exists, at the bottom of the regulations. I'm just bringing it to the top.
Motion,
Adding.
I move
Yes,
to send this
added.
amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 10 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To clarify that political signs complying with RSA 664 are exempt from the town's sign permit requirements.
Second.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Next,
Temporary residential signs, we talked a lot about it at the last meeting, this will amend the sign regulations. To allow one temporary sign on single family residential properties. And this was mostly for like real estate signs and whatnot, but. Municipalities can't regulate content, so they're just saying temporary signs, you are allowed to have one. For single family residential units,
and it's temporary.
temporary,
And it has a
which
whole
is already
series of-
defined.
All series of
It's
regulations.
defined elsewhere.
In zoning.
Yep.
This is just adding an allowance to the use table. If you look at the use table. For single family and two family, or whatever we end up calling them now. A single family and two family dwellings.
Single family, with or without an residential lot.
Right,
And
we're changing
family
that.
residential units.
Because we changed the definition for the language, right?
Yep.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 11 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To amend the sign regulations to allow one temporary sign on single and two family residential lots.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Are there any others? Oh my goodness.
There's three more.
We're getting there.
Um, amendment number 12, this amendment adds maintenance of structures to the town's existing landscaping and property maintenance section. This is to ensure that not only yards and exterior areas and buildings are kept in reasonable condition, but also structures.
Right.
And there is a list of exclusions in the structures definition.
Well, the structure now means like anything that's built.
has a 3 feet.
Well, no, we
It-
define structure.
Yeah,
There's 3.
What's a structure?
anything constructed or erected
3
with
feet
a
or
fixed
less.
location on or in the ground is how it currently reads.
Yeah.
We are removing the with a fixed location on or in the ground, because then it's anything that is built.
That's what I was, yeah. it-
But there are
Well-
some exemptions, utility poles, lines, cables, or other transmission or distribution facilities.
It's already in there.
Mailboxes, lights,
Yeah.
those currently exist,
Definitely.
yes, yep. Raised garden beds, walkways, or the like. So those are the exemptions.
Ask a question. It says in this new wording, it says buildings and structures, but then in the definition of structures, it says buildings.
Yes, so a structure a building can be a structure. But the way it's defined, a structure cannot be a building.
Rectangle could be a square.
Well, no, it simply means that
Yeah,
a
so, yeah,
structure can be built, but it's not necessarily a building.
Right.
It's something else.
Sorry.
Right.
Right.
So,
So if you build a shed or in the ground.
so the way building is defined, building is a structure or part thereof having a roof supported by columns or walls. And intended for the shelter, housing, and enclosure of persons, animals, or property.
not all structures do that.
But would,
We understand.
A structure. Yeah.
No, well, I mean, some kind of tower.
Yes.
Structure.
Tower,
Yeah,
right?
Building.
Not a kind
Yes.
of building, but it's a structure.
Yeah. So, yes, buildings can be structures, but structures are not necessarily
They're only buildings.
A roller coaster.
structure.
Treehouse?
That's the adventures.
All right, can we move forward?
Oh, boy.
It's not a building, maybe, I don't know.
All
Or
right,
is it?
is there any further discussion on
CBA
this,
figures that out.
Go on.
Madam Secretary?
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 12 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To amend the landscaping and property maintenance section to include maintenance of structures.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? Passed. Last,
Nope. Two
No,
more.
There's
Come
two
on.
more.
Okay.
next to
Uh,
last.
the zoning map amendment is to amend the zoning of map 108 lots 25 and 26.
Right.
Which is the White Mountain Athletic Club. Yep, they actually approached us and asked if they could change their zone from special civic to village commercial because it better fits their uses.
Half of what they do is not allowed currently.
Mhm.
And so they've asked to be
Strange
rezoned.
situation, yeah,
Lost in the midst of time, why I was.
whatever was that way, yes.
Mhm.
Any questions, any discussion?
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 13 as proposed by the planning board for the town of Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? To amend the zoning map by changing map 108 lots 25 and 26 from the special civic district to the village commercial district.
second,
Discussion.
I'll just reiterate that this is at the request of,
We said that.
but I want to get it as part of this. Much.
Yeah, there's a distinction, is that it's at,
Their current uses.
it's at
They're in
the,
favor of it, that we're not doing this without their
they came to
approval.
us.
They came to us.
at the request of the landowner. Of the property
Of
owner.
the property owner.
Right.
They just. asked
Self-enforcing.
because
Code officer Rainey.
Their reasoning was. Because it
Okay.
better fits their.
All right, there's a motion on the floor.
It has been seconded.
Is there discussion?
Besides their current uses, there's an undeveloped lot.
That's one of the lots.
I understand that, but to answer Katie's.
Yeah.
Right, there's a reason why they're asking us, so.
Of course there is. Nobody does anything without a reason. Who knows?
Sunrise
It's,
is. in
it's
the-
late. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any dissent? Passed.
Last one.
Now I can say last.
Yeah, this is the best one.
Yeah.
Fixing
Uh-oh.
any minor grammatical and formatting errors without changing the meanings of any of the regulations. So if there's a misplaced comma or the bullet points are messed up, you can go ahead and.
Bill missed it.
Madam Secretary, you're on a home stretch.
I move to send this amendment to the select board for inclusion on the March tenth town ballot to read as follows. Are you in favor of the adoption of amendment number 14 as proposed by the planning board for the town Waterville Valley zoning ordinance as follows? Correct minor grammatical and formatting errors throughout the document, with no substantive changes to the content or meaning of any section.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissent? We are concluded. Thank you, Liz.
Well,
Yes,
the two-
I am
yeah.
going to amend the parking, so when would you guys like to revisit that for another public hearing? We can hold
May.
the workshop in the middle.
do we want to do it really quick after the CIP or no?
Yeah, we can do it real quick.
We're already
Is that-
here. On
We
the
could
18th,
do it.
I don't know
What's
if that
the
gives you enough
purpose?
time.
I can try to get some,
I mean,
That-
it's just, what do you guys think? I don't want to,
So,
that could be the workshop.
yeah, because we have to, what's the
Doesn't
what's the requirement for
Um,
noticing?
no, it shouldn't be a public hearing. It would just be.
Well,
Thanks for
this
being-
we can say it right now and.
Back
get
it
it posted. It's 12 clear days before the meeting.
For the public hearing,
But for the
workshop.
the workshop, we can have it tomorrow.
okay,
No,
But
we can't.
for the public hearing, we have until January 26th to hold it. We already have, the 13th at 4 p.m. scheduled.
what about our regular meeting, January 8th?
We could do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do the 8:30.
Yeah, let's do
Public
that.
hearing. It's
That's
two of
our
them,
next
right?
available date, as I
We can do a
understand.
public hearing and then vote on it right after the public hearing.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to have a workshop for that, right,
Yes.
to discuss it among ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're asking for, is it?
Well, is that what Liz needs? Do we need to workshop it first or?
I will have it, I'll draft it and get it ready, for Thursday. What is it?
Okay.
Friday,
Yeah.
whenever the 8th.
Thursday.
Thursday is the,
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday.
the CIP meeting in the evening.
I'll have that drafted, for that you guys can review it, make changes and whatnot. And then we'll have the public hearing for it on January 8th at 8:30 AM to be, the public hearing for
Are
it.
there two we're looking at or just one?
One. Just
One that was tabled.
7.
I thought, well, what about the food establishment? Which
No,
one?
we accept
We,
it.
the only one was the delineation.
The food establishment was
Food
accepted.
establishment was accepted.
Oh, we did, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
thought we,
It
I
was
thought we,
accepted,
We did have
and
what you
they,
wrote.
what we
all right,
said was
all right.
that
apologize.
at a later date, we would discuss this special zone.
Okay,
Do we need a motion for that?
No, I will have to post it anyways, so those legally have to get.
we're not gonna touch it this year.
But I do need a motion.
I move that we close this public hearing.
For the amendments?
The amendment.
We're
But
not-
don't we have
we're
to
continuing
continue?
The public hearing.
Oh,
No.
right.
We can end this one because it's
Yes, okay.
statutorily, yeah, you can do it, you can end it, and then
Catherine,
we'll read notice for the second public hearing, because we have to notice it anyways, it's legally required, so
For January,
for January.
it'll be a
8th,
separate public.
Thank God we have Liz here.
but
Yeah.
gentlemen, that's
We'd be
a-
You
totally.
guys
good.
handle it,
Out of
you got it, you're good.
we're gonna renotice for the January 13 meeting, is that correct?
What's that?
For the January 13 meeting.
What is?
No, Liz.
January.
I was confused about the date. Somebody said January 8th.
January 8th
January 8th.
is the public hearing for the zoning amendment,
And
Okay.
it's also a regular meeting.
and it is also the regular meeting.
Right.
Okay,
And then
Done.
you guys agree to January 13th.
so there's a motion on the floor. Okay, all in favor of adjournment? We are adjourned.
Got it?
Good job, Bill. You got us through it.
Thank you for hanging around.
Look for
You're
everybody.
welcome. You're welcome.
I'll leave the house at like 6 AM.
Oh, no, get out of here. You're not getting home until 11.
Ah.